Hello gamers, this is Noobzilla. I've been playing my Cleric a little bit more lately, and I just hit rank 90 on him. He's mainly playing Cabalist and Shaman, and I've had quite a few people ask me for my build for Cabalist, so I'll go ahead and go over that. While I don't feel like it's nearly as powerful as it was at level 50 by any stretch of the imagination, it's still pretty powerful in certain situations like Port Scion and CQ, and then some of the other ones if people clump up and don't spread out. But let's go ahead and check this out here. Here I am at the practice dummies, and I'll go and do my rotation here. So let's go and dot these guys up and then see what we can do here. Here we go. Time for some numbers. As you can see, 3 seconds, 2 seconds of tyranny of death right here. Overall, it's some pretty good damage and it's very easy to play. And besides the damage, there's also some really good signals here. We have removes 1 buff from up to 10 enemies, snares up to 10 enemies for 5 seconds, stuns up to 10 enemies for 2 seconds, and then interrupts and silences up to 10 enemies for 5 seconds. That was the signal of woe, binding, rune, and secrecy. So I mean, it's really good damage, and in addition to that, some pretty good CC as well. So you can manipulate your target and then blow them all up. Then you have some other fun abilities here, like signal of catastrophe that applies them to 10 enemies there. So what I like to do is I like to pull them all together, and of course I can't do it there, but to the other enemies it pulls them within a certain distance, and then you can do that right afterwards, which is a nice combination. You have Signal of the Spirits that increases non-physical damage taken by 5% on up to 10 enemies, and if you want to, like some people, you can throw all those into one macro. And this is what the build looks like. 58 Cabalist, you can mix and match this however you want. If you want to get Reversal of Fortune and then Mass Reversal, you can, and if you want to get Dark Harbor, you can, but just make sure you end up with 58 in your Cabalist. I went ahead and did 5-5 Secrets of the Deep, 5-5 Stroke of Genius, 5-5 Death's Grip, 5-5 Entropy. I did the Dark Passage because this really has pretty terrible mobility and it's a very squishy class, so that teleport 15 meters forward helps a little bit. Get out of sticky situations. Explosive Energies 5 out of 5, 3-3 Broad Strokes. Then you have the Signal of the Spirits that I covered, 3-3 Affinity for Death, 2-2 Shackles of Fate, 2-2 Pain of the Chosen, 3-3 Leviathan's Mark, 1-1 Maelstrom. That's what I was talking about. It pulls 5 enemies to the target's location. It snares each enemy hit for 8 seconds. It's powerful. And Dark Manifesto 5 out of 5, 2 out of 2 Swift Disintegration, 1 out of 1 Ravaging Darkness, 3 out of 3 Death's Dominion, 5 out of 5 Eccentric, and then 1 out of 1 Seeping Death. And then for Inquisitor, I have 5-5 Planner Study, 2-2 Pursuit of Truth, 3 out of 5 Corporal Punishment. Then I have 4 out of 5 Agent of Affliction. For Defiler, I have 4 or 5 Open-Minded, so that wraps up what my points are in. So the buffs that I use Armor of Devotion, I use Howling Death, Rage Blight, and then on the tank, or whoever's up in their face, I'll be using Seeping Death that deals 543 to 601 death damage to up to 8 enemies near the ally whenever the ally takes damage. So you want to use that on somebody that's up in their face like a tank. And then Blighted Greed, I'll also throw that on the tank. It says buffs the ally causing damage taken by that ally to trigger the effects of the caster's active Rage Blight or Grief Blight. Can only affect one ally, stacks with other allies, links, and Blighted Greed. Okay, so these 2 on the tanks, these 3 on myself, and then I'm all buffed up, so I use those 5 buffs. For the macros, and you can always add and remove things to fit your play style the best for whatever you want to do macro wise, but the one that I use, and this will be in the description, is show Scion of Aetius, suppress macro failures, cast Tyranny of Death, cast Ravaging Darkness, cast Well of Souls, cast Bound Fate, cast Break Free, cast Shadow Breach, cast Scion of Aetius. And like I was saying, you can always add to that if you want. And when I'm in CQ and I'm lazy, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and do this. I'll cast my sickles in here as well. So show Scion of Aetius, suppress macro failures, cast Tyranny of Death, cast Maelstrom. That way it brings people together. Cast the Sigil of Catastrophe, cast Sigil of Secrecy, cast Ravaging Darkness, cast Well of Souls, cast Sigil of Ruin, cast Sigil of Woe, cast Bound Fate, cast Break Free, cast Shadow Breach, and cast Scion of Aetius. That's what I do when I'm in CQ. It's really good control, really good damage. Kind of surprised that a class with so much damage can have so much CC, and just things to piss off healers and players in general, between taking their buffs away or silencing them, stunning them, slowing them, so on and so forth. Then you have the Purge there that removes 2 buffs, so it's a lot of fun playing this. You should try it out sometime in Conquest and Port Scion, and then wherever else you see fit. It's really good AoE damage, and if you ever decide you want to use it for single target damage, you can turn on Obliterate. That causes the Cleric's Bound Fate to deal 200% damage, and Tyranny of Death, Disintegration, and Ravaging Darkness to deal 250% damage, but only target the targeted or damage the targeted enemy. So when you turn this on, your spec pretty much goes from the greatest Cleric AoE spec down to a mediocre, I would say, single target spec, but it's still better than not having it on. So if you want to go from AoE to single target, turn on Obliterate. I really don't do it that often unless I'm in a 1 versus 1 situation. And here's the single target macro: show Sanction Heretic, suppress macro failures, cast Tyranny of Death, cast Disintegration, cast Sanction Heretic, cast Shadow's Touch, cast Ravaging Darkness, cast Marrow Harvest, and cast Bound Fate. Okay, that covers the AoE and single target portions of the spec. Okay, so what I do is I use my main macro here, my AoE macro, and then I spread it around my Tyranny of Death with my Bound Fate, and then after that I hit my Disintegration macro. That's suppress macro failures, cast Disintegration, cast Curse of Anarchy. The reason I do it like that is because I like to do my Disintegration, and then I can just hit the button again to apply the Curse of Anarchy, as you see up here. And if you didn't know, you cannot put 2 of the same curses on the same target, so I'll pick one target to do my Curse of Solitude, and then I'll put my Curse of Anarchy on the other one, and then we'll really get some damage going there. Not too bad. The person who made this spec was the Grins on the forums, and he made it all the way in August of 2013, so this spec has been around for a while. I tweaked it a little bit to my playstyle, but it's still the same. It's still 58 Cabalist, 14 Inquisitor, 4 Defiler. And then he goes over everything here, buffs, and then these are the macros that he uses, and so on and so forth. He has all the information here. So check it out sometime. I'll also put a link to the forums here where he made this post in the description box, so if I didn't cover something, or if you want to check out what he has to say about it, it'll be there as well. Alright, this was Noobzilla going over the spec that I use here at level 60 on my Cleric. It's a Cabalist spec, great for Port Scion, awesome for CQ. Alright, here's some gameplay. Alright, so here we are in Conquest. Let's see if I can blow some people up. Looks like we're doing okay so far here. Nice. Here we go. Oh yeah. Basically what I'm doing is putting my Tyranny of Death on people, and then once I do that I'm spreading it around using Bound Fate. These guys are all gonna die. Use my Dark Passage there to get out of before I get 3-shot. Don't have very many tricks to get out of combat here, but Dark Passage does help. Looks like we got a few more people down here to clear out. I'm gonna go ahead and head back unless these guys push forward. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna head back to middle. Alright, ready for a fight here. Looks like we have people southeast coming here shortly. Here they come. Right on the steps too. That's not a good choke point area for him. Yeah, these guys, yeah, look at all that damage. These guys are not going to do well sitting in a choke point like this because I'm just going to spread out my AoE and then they're all just going to die. Here we go. Nice. Alright, here's another fight for us. And these guys are all going to die as well. You figured they'd be spreading out up there, but that would just make too much sense. Look at all that nice damage there. We'll go and purge this guy here. Can't have that tank drawing all of our focus fire. And he's dead. Nice. And my cooldowns are almost up. They're all gonna die here. And just a reminder, I have these two curses here. You cannot put those on the same target, so make sure you put one on one target and the other one on the other target, because if you try to put them both on one, it'll just be overwritten by the other one. I'm silenced. Let me move out of the way for a second. Alright, here we go. And here's my cooldowns. This is where they all die. Just watch. It's gonna happen, I'm telling you. Give the Noobzilla a heal. There we go. Now they're spreading out. Too little too late though, because they are dead. Ooh, here comes the other team. Hey, check out that portrait right there. It's glowing. I'm nowhere near that one. I have the cool one with spikes coming out, but it doesn't glow like that one dude's. Looks like we're gonna have both teams wiped here. Okay, my cooldowns are almost coming up, so these guys are gonna die just like the last team. Oh, nice. I'm gonna come up here, hopefully I don't get pulled. Back up just a little bit. Cooldown's almost up again. I'm gonna go and go through this cooldown, and then I'm gonna call it a night and go grab some food. Nice. Don't forget, it's not just about damage, it's about silencing, stunning, removing buffs, using Maelstrom to drag everybody to one area, slowing them down with my snares, purging them with my 2 purges. So while the damage is obviously awesome, as you can see, it's much more than that, which makes this a very deadly spec. Surprised they're kind of sitting in this choke point right here where I can just AoE the hell out of them.